Welcome to the StockMentor.com studios here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your stock mentor, Brian Johnson, making professional trading simple. And a bullish run today by the markets. What did I say? Up and over 1085. That would have got you about 10 points today had you taken that move. I did take that move. Hopefully my subscribers did too, and I did tell them that I was exiting at the end of the day. I was happy with a 10-point gain. I don't know how much more upside we have left. My next overhead levels for the SPX is about 1100 to 1105, so I'm not going to try to squeeze the last few remaining drops of blood out of this market. I'm just going to be content with what I've got and call it good. Now, as for the move, it was a good move. Don't know if I would necessarily consider it a strong move. So I was a little leery about this market today, and that is another big reason why I took profits at the end of the day. Wherever it goes tomorrow is great. The market internals did confirm everything we saw today, but just a slow, methodical grind to the upside by the bulls, bleeding out the bears as it moved upwards, especially once it crossed that 1085 mark. I'm sure that's going to have a lot of the more major Elliotticians scrambling for their pencils, trying to make sense of where we are in the count. And I'm sure if you guys follow that type of stuff more readily than I do, you'll probably hear all kinds of opinions coming out now about where we are in the count. For me, it was just above getting above 1085. Now I'm watching 1100. Here on the Dow, it was about getting above 10, maybe 200, and then 10, 250, and now 10, 300 once again. We are only about 70 points away from that. The high today was 10, 280. So I'm not going to try to squeeze every last drop of blood, like I said, out of this market. For those of you that did get long, it was a good move today. Would have taken a lot of patience to finally see some returns on it. Most of the day was just sideways action. But that sideways action lends itself to the bullish. It was holding itself above support. And that's what we saw at the end of the day, was a little pop to the upside. So a very good move by the bulls, a very decent move for traders. You can see now we are up and over this channel. I am not so sure that this isn't what I call a FOBO, a fake out breakout, maybe a head fake here to the upside. But I will be a lot more convinced if and when we get over this area here. Let it get back above the 200 period moving average on the 60-minute before you try to take another trade. If you remained long overnight, this is your overhead target area. I would be moving up stops and or taking profits at this level up in here. Be very careful up there. The Dow on a daily, you can see here now pushing over and above the 20-day moving average, bringing itself back to the 10,300 where we know there's overhead resistance there. The next stop above that would be the 50-day moving average. So a very, so far, very, I don't know. I don't want to say a strong move by the bulls, but it definitely is bullish. Gotta hand it to the markets right now. It is a bullish move. From everything we're looking at. The NASDAQ not quite able to get up and over as strongly as some of the other indices on that channel we've been watching, but still able to put itself up 1.3% today, and kind of the lagger today. Wasn't up as much as the other stocks were, but my overhead for this one would be right up here about 1820, between 1815 and 1820. NASDAQ on a daily, you can see it here, coming back to retest after a gap up, comes back, retests this area, that back test held. Now it's moving itself back up once again. 1815 to 1820 is my overhead area for a couple different reasons, this being one of the more major ones, the 50-day moving average right up here at 1820. NDX on a weekly, only Monday, but notice how we're coming up to maybe back test this area overhead. Where's that? Yeah, right there around that 1820 area I just spoke about. SPX on a 60-minute, breaking up and over its channel as well. Once it got above 1085, it was an upward push all day, but very, very slow grind to the upside. So my overhead is here 1100 to 1105 for obvious reasons. Just keep those in mind as we push forward. SPX on a daily, you can see it up and over the 20-day moving average, now coming up here and approaching this 50-day moving average. So 1100 to 1105, if you're swing trading, especially 1100 and then the 1108 mark are your tickets to the upside. But in our first day back, you can see I talked about a potential big move over the weekend since we Since we had a day off, it still opened up, more bullish than anything by the time we were done with it. Not a big surprise, though, coming into options expiration week to see this type of a move. Like I said, volatility usually happens a little bit earlier in the week on these options expiration weeks, and we're seeing that today. Pretty sizable move up here. 20 points by the time, now I'm going to say a very quiet 20 points by the time we were done with the day. Sure didn't seem like we moved that much, but by the end of the day, 20 points on the S&P is a very decent day. From the weekly standpoint, coming up here to retest these areas as well, that'll be right around 11:15 or so on the weekly if we get up there. The VIX falling out of the bed here. Down quite a bit today, so confirming what we saw in the markets, looking to work its way back down maybe into this 20-ish area or so before we see another stop on the VIX. That means it's going to bleed out the options. So all of you in options are probably feeling the pinch, especially if you're in puts right now. Apple on a 60-minute, you can see here up $3 today. Very good move, but a sharp move in the